YouTube? Welcome back. Forbidden durability. You're trying to be as durable as you're trying to last long, really. You're making sure that you don't die first, don't die too quickly. And without further ado, let's actually go into the room page and start doing the whole explanations. Let's go. Alright, there's quite a few things to talk about, so let's go down it. I'm gonna skip the first two. I'll tell you why. But Transcendence, we're focusing more on ability haste, not attack speed in terms of stacking until 5 stacks or stuff like that. I feel as if we're going to be more useful if we just go for ability haste instead. Gathering Storm, we want as much AD as possible. And honestly, comparing Gathering Storm to whatever is in here, I think is just, it's even of how useless it is in the first 10 minutes, it's still going to be somewhat useful after the first 10 minutes. It's going to become useful anyway. And Scorch, this is terrible. And water walking, if you're not in the river, it doesn't do anything. And last time I checked, you're a laner. So unless you're like constantly fighting people in the river, it's not. Listen, I don't know about these other runes, but I will tell you what I do, and I take Gathering Storm. Okay? With those two things explained, let's go to the Resolve tree. Conditioning for the resistances and unflinching to make sure that you take a less CC. Good. This is actually going to pair well with most of the build, because we're actually stacking a lot of resistances here, and we go for double MR. This is something I do because I feel like Darius has terrible MR scaling, so this is what I'm picking up to make up for it, because we still need to have as much resistances as possible on both parts. Darius actually has good armor scaling, which is why I pretty much almost never go armor. I definitely never go double armor. Listen, if you want to do this, go AD and armor. I wouldn't, but if you want to do that, then do that. Just don't do this. This doesn't do anything, really. However, this is what I do, and ability haste, hey, maybe you can't play without the attack speed. Then, okay, go ahead, take the attack speed. However, I go ability haste because we're actually maxing out on ability haste in this build here. That's how we're gonna stack up. That's how we're gonna actually play our champion here. Now, the two things that I skipped out on is the Airy and Nullifying Orb. Now, the reason I skipped out on these is because these two things you can actually change. I've done this in the past as well. But if you don't want these two things, then you can go for Nimbus Cloak Phase Rush. Now, I wouldn't do Nimbus Cloak Phase Rush because I like to keep this in the Forbidden Velocity, and now that I'm focusing on Forbidden Durability, I want to stay on that, which is why I go for Barrier and Nullifying Orb. Sorry. Nullifying Orb is probably the difference maker here, because this actually is the thing that will make you last longer, because it actually gives you some kind of defensive stat here. Airy is actually just offense, pretty much. Airy ain't really all that, but it's better than Comet, I'd say, so I would take Airy. And this would be for durability. Now, like I said before, if you feel as if this is not for you, Airy just doesn't work, you don't want to take Airy, then go Phase Rush. It still kind of works out, because Nimbus and Phase Rush is still just as good, if not better, than Airy Nullifying Orb. So yes, to round it all off, these two are situational. But because this is Forbidden Durability, I want to focus more on durability and damage, which is why I go for Summon Airy and Nullifying Orb. If I wanted to go fast, I would do the Forbidden Velocity instead. But with that explained thoroughly, let's now go over to the build. Alright, here we have the build. In order, I'd say, actually, as well. So, we go for the Tabis, trying to take less damage. Actually, you can say that for Force of Nature, you can say that for Randuins. We're just really trying to take less damage. Now, Evan Shroud and Stoneplate, these two things are for amplifying your armor and magic resist, such as conditioning. And you can see that there's quite a lot of armor and magic resist in the entire build here. Got both on Evan Shroud, both on Stoneplate, and Stoneplate has a percentage scaling on it. We got quite a lot of magic resist on Force of Nature, a lot of armor and Randuins, got some armor and plated steel caps. With that all taken into account, and you have double MR, and you got conditioning under your belt, full build, you're looking at around 300 plus resistances on each, and that is what makes you a tanky individual. Now, there is something I don't want you to forget. It's not just resistances. I picked the resistances items that actually give you damage reduction. Okay? Not just stats, but damage reduction. Plated steel caps, reducing the damage from auto attacks by 12%. Reducing auto attack damage that is coming near you because of the Warden's Mail passive by whatever that is, 5 plus 0.5 max health, blah blah blah. I don't really care. I just know it makes you take less damage from auto attacks as well. Actually, just attacks in general. So yeah, that's good. And obviously the active, where it slows and reduces their AD and crit damage. So we're lowering. It's damage reduction. It's not just armor. And last but not least, to top it all off, Force of Nature, Steadfast passive, giving you reduced magic damage. Okay, you take less magic damage. Okay, that's good. So we have all these things in terms of making sure that we take as little damage as possible. However, do not forget, you can reduce all the damage you want, but if you ain't doing any damage, there ain't no point. You're eventually gonna die. You're just delaying the inevitable. So even though you're majorly going damage reduction, now you need to think about, okay, what am I gonna do to actually deal damage? Cleaver, making sure that they don't have armor, and you have that ability haste to keep using your spells and stuff like that. Got some nice AD as well, and we got AD from Gathering Storm. So we're pairing up these two things so that we can actually still be somewhat of a threat. And on top of that, Evan Shroud. You see, it does have a nice mythic passive giving you more armor and magic resist to add on to everything that you have. However, this passive, I'm not going to pronounce that. After immobilizing champions, or they immobilize you, you make them take 9% increased damage for the next 4 seconds. That means whatever damage they're taking is now increased on top of the armor they already have decreased. All in all, they're now going to be taking more damage because of 2 items that you have, and you take less damage because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items that you have plus your runes, right? See, everything is like kind of just interjecting with each other, and you can pretty much narrow this build down to A, you have damage, and B, you have durability. You want durability and damage in this build, and that's what you have. With all this being said, what do you want to actually use this build against? Set up the entire forbidden durability. What would you use it against? Honestly, if you're the only potentially durable champion there is in the match, if you're like the only one available, then yeah, this is probably the way to go. Another way you would want to use it is if the enemies just have too much damage and you don't really want to get one shot, stuff like that. That's the way I see it. That's where you'd want to use this against. Now, the preference section. What kind of skin do you want to use when doing this? Honestly, I like green. I like green when I'm doing like tank. Although I like green when I'm doing sustain as well. But I'd still use this if I was. I would use Bioforge if I was using this. I'd probably use God King as well because if you're lasting so long, I feel like you using the God King skin whilst lasting that long is kind of adds to the epicness, I'd say. So I just wouldn't use Dunk Master with this. I feel like Dunk Master is not a tank type of skin, more like damage, move speed, that kind of stuff. Action. But wow, we kind of went in depth there. Let's wrap this up. Thank you for watching the video. Do the YouTube usuals, like, comment, subscribe, and share the video, and watch more videos. All my links are down in the description below. The Twitch. Remember the Twitch. My Twitch is down there as well. Click it, follow, and watch my streams. Have a nice day, and peace out.
Nothing but